Enga Governor calls for students to return to class. Students conduct polling on legal grounds for boycott. And some good news for police amidst bad publicity.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Thursday's news. Enga Governor Sir Peter Ipatas is calling on students from the University of Papua New Guinea and other institutions to return to class. Sir Peter's call said the current unrest by students is unnecessary and is politically motivated. His call comes as students in higher learning institutions rally to boycott classes if Prime Minister Peter O'Neill declines to step down and reinstate the National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Directorate.
A vocal Enga governor says students should not be involved in political propaganda. The Enga governor, who has been a key driver in the education sector, says students need to prioritize their goals as future leaders and intellectuals at a higher education institution.
In this instant, which is a political issue, I don't think it is their field. They shouldn't. If they were talking about issues that are affecting their studies, their future careers, fine.
He reiterated that the current turn of events for the Prime Minister to step down and the alleged millions involved in the Paracas saga are issues for the justice system to dwell on. The three-time Engan governor threw his support behind Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, stating the PM is following proper procedures and there is no need for Mr. O'Neill to step down. He says if the Prime Minister steps down, no alternate government is in place to take the country forward.
For me to just stand by and see students being used for political gain doesn't go down well with me. So I am now calling on all my students to go back to the classroom, get educated. Leave politics to me. I was mandated, I was elected to do it.
Yesterday, Southfly MP Aide Ganassi also called on students to return to class.
They should go back to classes, because not everybody is paid for by the government. Some are individually paying for their own fees.
The Engan governor was backed by Wabek MP Robert Ganim and Kompiam Ambum MP and Minister for Climate Change and Environment John Pundari. Jack Lepave Jr., National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, UPNG students continued their boycott today, expecting the Prime Minister to receive their petition. The students refused to hand over their petition to the government delegation yesterday.
UPNG boycotting of classes continued as students awaited the news of whether or not the Prime Minister would go to UPNG to receive the petition. The Prime Minister did not turn up at the university today. EMTV understands that the Prime Minister had complied with the students' request to have the Prime Minister or a representative receive the petition. Meanwhile, UPNG this afternoon held a forum to discuss their next plan of action. It is understood classes will resume tomorrow, but on the decision of each student. If students do not want to resume classes, a sit-in protest will continue tomorrow, with the same call to have the Prime Minister to receive the petition. Adelaide Sirox Kari, National EMTV News.
Over at the University of Technology, students have begun a voting process to establish legal grounds for an indefinite boycott. Electoral Commission officials at the polling have indicated that nearly all the students at the university have voted. Students are in the second week of protests demanding the Prime Minister, Peter O'Neill, to step down and for the fraud squad to be reinstated.
The University of Technology students have gone into voting today to find out exactly where the majority of the student body stands for an indefinite boycott to make sure their demands are heard. Their demands have been for the Police Commissioner Gary Baki to reinstate Fraud Squad Director Matthew Demaru and Prime Minister Peter O'Neill to step down from power.
Going through right now, usually you should be proud of your country, but if with the country going on a downfall state, it's not something to be.
Their votes will either put a stop to the boycott or allow the boycott to continue.
The purpose of our referendum is for a later reference. If there is anything happened, we're going to show it to our lecturers or MPs, the government, that we have filled this one.
While those for the boycott have been very vocal about their support, those against it have this opportunity to say no in a democratic vote. Unitech's campus is still shut, cars are grounded and administration operations remain halt. The school's administration has given the students 2 days to cast their votes in this referendum. Now, PNG electoral officers say that the number of students that voted is very high, close to the total number of 3,000. Electoral Commission officers were at the university this morning facilitating the voting.
Continually flock in for votes, then we'll finish at 4:06.
The student body numbers voting for the boycott needs to be 2/3 of the total population of around 3,038 students enrolled in order for it to happen. Bethany Harriman, National MTV News, Leh.
Meanwhile, at least one of the demands has been met. Matthew Damaru has been reinstated. However, the fraud squad office remains closed and talks are ongoing between the fraud squad and the police commissioner to have the office reopened. A quick decision was made today on a slip rule application by Prime Minister's lawyer Tiffany Twive. The Supreme Court decision was handed down by a three-man bench comprising of Justices Colin McKyle, Derek Hartshorn and Don Sawong. The submission was made in the morning and refused in the afternoon.
At 9 a.m., Tiffany Twive argued that a Supreme Court decision that was handed down last month on Finance Minister James Marape was made outside of the submissions that they filed. However, the court said she should have argued that at the time the decision was made. The decision was made by the same judges that removed the stay order of the warrant of arrest of Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, Finance Minister James Marape, Attorney General Anopala, and other persons alleged to have been involved in the fraudulent payments of legal bills to private law firm Paul Paraka Lawyers. However, the Prime Minister was exempted as there is still an interim injunction in place in a proceeding that questioned the validity of his warrant of arrest obtained in June 2014. Marape then started proceedings in the National Court in order for Paraka Lawyers to be taxed on the legal bills paid for services rendered to the state. O'Neill and Marape sought the order on the basis that the court in the taxation proceeding had not yet determined that the payments to Paraka Lawyers was fraudulent. Therefore, they should not be arrested until this occurs. When the orders were refused by Justice Eric Kariko at the National Court, both then appealed before the three-man bench. However, the same judges refused the order, stating that it does not deal with the substantive issues. Therefore, the interim injunction sought cannot be granted. This means that the restraining orders sought do not prevent and interfere with the taxation proceeding. This ended with the filing of the slip rule application today. Vasinata Yama, National MTV News.
Michael Waipo was restored as Correctional Services Commissioner by the National Court in Port Moresby this afternoon. The decision handed down by Justice Colin McKyle came after almost 2 months of a legal battle. The National Court ordered for Waipo to be restored as Commissioner immediately and for the NEC-appointed Acting CS Commissioner Bernard Nepo to vacate office. Teklagunga reports.
Justice Colin McKyle ruled in Waipo's favor on the grounds that the manner in which Waipo was revoked as CS Commissioner was a breach of the Public Service Management Act and did not give Waipo a chance to be heard. Justice McKyle said, according to the PSM Act, if a departmental head is not seen performing his duties as he should be advised to improve his performance and given time to do so. However, the court found that Waipo was not told of where he needed to improve and was only advised of his revocation through a letter. On 9th February this year, Waipo was terminated as the CS Commissioner following an NEC decision to appoint Bernard Nepo as the acting CS Commissioner. The matter was taken to court and a Supreme Court decision stayed the termination of Waipo as CS Commissioner following the outcome of the substantive matter. Minutes after his reinstatement, an elated Waipo spoke to the media.
Respect for command and control, So we stabilize the institution from the top, so then enabling everybody else to follow.
Bennett Nepo, on the other hand, said he welcomes the court's decision and indicated that he will still pursue the matter in court.
The public know that I am the commissioner. I respect the decision of the court. It's a one-man decision by the judge. I respect his decision, but there is still option for higher court. And even if the process has been abused, we'll rectify those abuses, and I will have the minister and NEC to relook at those, and then have the former commissioner terminated so that I can resume office effectively.
Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. Ahead in the news, progress on the Ramu hydropower station, customs compliance, a huge problem in PNG, and a student dead and another hospitalized in a hit-and-run accident. Details when we come back. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Kumul Consolidated Holdings today released details of progress on the Ramu 2 hydropower project, a proposed 180 megawatt hydroelectric power station on the Ramu River. The project was on public tender earlier this year, and so far 3 companies have been selected out of more than 50 bidders. Lian Jarari with more.
Launched last December in Kainantu in the Eastern Highlands province, Ramu 2 is a major infrastructure project being managed by Kumul Consolidated Holdings and is expected to increase total electricity generation capacity in Papua New Guinea by 36%. KCH is focused on Phase 1 of a 3-phase transaction management process, seeking expressions of interest from suitably qualified development partners to develop the project and operate under a public-private partnership model.
For us, for expressions of interest and proposals from various leading companies all over the world to try and involve themselves in the proposed Ramu 2 hydro project, and more than 50 companies have expressed interest, and that is a very good sign of the fact that despite what is happening here, Papua New Guinea is still regarded as a good place where people can do business and invest.
A total of 65 proponents responded to the tender, and ultimately 3 companies were selected for the development of the project. These are Korean consortium POSCO Daewoo, Korean Western Power, Dalium Energy, Hyundai Engineering, from China Sino Hydro Corporation Limited, and Shenzhen Energy Group Company, also from China. Kumul Consolidated Holdings is also in the process of completing a feasibility study on the area and surroundings, including a complete social mapping, awareness delivery, environmental and social impact studies, and mobilizing landowners to cooperate so that they can participate in the PPP model.
We have our consultants on site. They've been up there for the last 5 weeks. We hope to have a baseline study report ready in 6 weeks' time.
The launch of the Ramu 2 project is one of 5 recent agreements using renewable energy to supply additional power to PNG. Lian Jarari, National EMTV News.
The board of PNG Power has announced that acting CEO Chris Bice will be the interim CEO until a permanent appointment is made. The board awarded a short-term employment contract for a period of 6 months to Mr. Bice to assume all roles and responsibilities of the Chief Executive Officer. Board Chairman Andrew Ogill said the decision was made in the light of having someone with experience and knowledge of the company and the electricity industry to hold the fort until a permanent appointment is made. The import of counterfeit goods and non-compliance of the PNG customs requirements and regulations is still a huge problem. Taking this into account, PNG Customs, through its Compliance and Procedures Division, has been conducting awareness workshops on customs requirements. The objective of the workshop is to educate and inform stakeholders to ensure compliance.
PNG Customs is concerned that the increase in non-compliance of customs laws and regulations in the region is fueling unscrupulous and illegal business activities. This in turn has resulted in the loss of revenue for government as well as threats to public health and safety. It has therefore become crucial to collaborate with relevant stakeholders to address this cross-cutting border issue.
We maintain
coordinated border management practices at the borders. And consultation is very important under this management practice. And we like to consult our internal stakeholders, like other government agencies who participate with us in managing our borders, and our other foreign counterparts, customs administrations in other countries, through the exchange of information and capacity support.
A participant at today's workshop was William Meninga from the Industrial Hardware and Safety Suppliers, Bishops. Mr. Meninga gave a presentation on the steel brand, saying there are counterfeits leaking into the country and making their way into shops and into the hands of unsuspecting buyers.
For our development of our country, we need to buy genuine stuff so it can help us in the long run with the genuine product, especially the chainsaw we are talking about. Most of our people, they go for cheaper price and they get the counterfeit. If you get a genuine steel, the product is quality and it's durable.
Mr. Meninga said the counterfeit chainsaws would be destroyed to send a strong message.
We have complied with the customs law and the IP intellectual rights and the trademark, and we're trying to send a message that any more counterfeit products, like in steel, using steel color or steel name, we want to tell them not to bring in, because we have got that license, we've got that mandate, so we will destroy them.
At the end of the stakeholders' awareness on customs requirements and regulatory industrial standards, it is expected that the stakeholders will go away more informed and more proactive about ensuring compliance of both importers and exporters. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
2 decades of unfulfilled political commitments and neglect have left the people of Bukawa in Morbe without a road. The only road that gave them access fell into disrepair over 20 years ago. Today, the only efficient way to get to villages in Bukawa is by boat, and the cost of traveling is hitting the people hard.
For the past 2 decades, successive politicians have made commitments to rebuild a road link between Leh and Bukawa. Very little has happened. The road condition has deteriorated and the people have little option but to travel by boat. But boat travel is expensive. 15 kina by truck compared to 16 kina by boat per person. The fuel costs are the driving factor behind the high passenger boat fares.
Planti gaman go pinise. One kind talk or talk. One blakam, by talk by walking road. One blakam, talk by walking road. Still me blastabia. One kind yet.
When the fuel prices rise, the passengers, many of them living and working outside formal employment circles, are hit hard by the costs. For those traveling to places like Finchhafen, the demise of the church-owned Lutheran shipping hit them hard. The frequency of accidents rose because a lot more people were taking to the open sea on small boats. More travelers on the coastlines have given rise to serious opportunistic crimes like sea piracy.
Plenty time sea piracy come up miarem. So miadam miabrusem. I mean bungem usat manstra di wakem dislasanti. So nusi come up no misam gat sea pirate. So plenty time come up na melong. Here na busuna igodano Singawa.
Police presence along the coast has been non-existent. The RPNGC struggles with limited funding, and the absence of a much-needed water policing unit has left much of the sea routes open to drug traffickers and, of course, pirates.
Scott White, National EMTV News, Leh.
A male student has died and a female student still in a coma following an accident at Salamander Street in Leh this morning. Witnesses say that the vehicle was traveling at high speed and struck the 2 students. Leh Metropolitan Police Commander Anthony Wagambi Jr. in a statement confirmed that the vehicle involved in the accident was implicated in another incident earlier this morning and was looking to escape the scene at high speed when it hit the 2 students. He also confirmed that the driver of the Land Cruiser was heavily intoxicated. The female student is in a coma at Leh's Enga Hospital, where doctors are monitoring her condition in the intensive care unit. The driver of the vehicle and his passenger are also both in a critical condition but are in police custody.
Tripla or innocent man emotion dubla school mangi blo bogendi narabla Mary na narabla boy to boy mas kari iti meme Mani nem la se te kan saboli mem kan tromem. Media am tromem no site local tana. Boya am local mem one and slab wani me blokare. Slab blogan SMS. Em dai. Na tupla mani se lokar tu em. Tuplak Cibagara. Ari mo ko lausi gana dino totok no ba.
The closure of the Regional Processing Centre in Manos has brought to light the limited police strength within the province. Acting Provincial Police Commander, Senior Inspector David Yapu, said the closure of the centre has spurred the need for police presence to maintain order. The centre has been put under surveillance following the Supreme Court's decision last week that found the centre illegal. 8 police personnel have been deployed to the centre at Lombrum to prevent any problems following a request from PNG Immigration and Citizenship Service Authority. The centre, meanwhile, has remained quiet and calm over the last 8 days. Senior Inspector Yapu said he will discuss with the police hierarchy regarding mobility, staff housing and manpower. Manos province currently has a police strength of only 50 personnel. On a brighter note, the Papua New Guinea Royal Constabulary has been in the spotlight for a number of negative publications, but one directorate within the force has maintained its integrity since 1937. The Police Pipes and Drums, normally known as the Police Band, has been a peace mediator and frontline unit in major occasions in the country. This musical unit has received new instruments from the RPNGC, and plans are now in place to expand to other regions within the country.
Akarutau from Kamali village in Rigo district, Central Province, has been on the front line of the police band for 36 years. He has been the band master or conductor for many years. The police band has been on the front line of major international events in the country. Started in 1937 as a brass band in Kokopo, East New Britain Province, the band now represents the pride of the RPNGC.
The police band actually started in 1937. The founder was Inspector David Crowley. The first international engagement by the band was to march through the streets of Sydney in the Victory March after the World War II.
Over the years, the unit has received limited support from the police top management in terms of buying new equipments. But after 79 years of its history, the RPNGC has for the first time bought new instruments for the band.
It helped with the tuning. When you have old instruments, there's a discrepancy in the tuning. Sometimes you'll have to concentrate on telling the people to tune up. But with the new instruments, there's not a problem with the tuning.
Commissioner Gary Bucky, when presenting the instruments today, outlined the new strategy he has for the police band. Governor General Grand Chief Sir Michael Ogio also present at the occasion and urged the band members to lift the pride of the country through the musical tunes they play. Quinten Alom, National EMTV News.
PNG Tribal Foundation, in partnership with the Enga Provincial Government and General Electronics PNG, are working to address infant and maternal mortality in the province. Complementing Tribal Foundation's V-Scan pilot project, the non-for-profit organization has been given a brand new vehicle to support health officials monitor the project. On Tuesday, the people of Wabeg witnessed the presentation of this vehicle, plus 2 others funded by the provincial government.
8 months after the rollout of the V-Scan pilot project, help in terms of logistics support came in the form of this brand new vehicle. Funded by the Enga provincial government through the Enga Children's Fund, this vehicle will help in terms of logistics, getting the program coordinator to reach health centers. Enga Governor Sir Peter Ipatas during the presentation said his government is now focused on delivering quality health care after the national government has taken on board its free education policy. He said the Enga provincial government is committed to ensuring that the people of Enga receive quality health care.
The focus on people by going to help. People are meaning. Sick for you. Now you know sick or same months before. I'm all looking 1 place kind sick, 2 place sick. Now can sick. So you may also government now, you may yet must step up.
PNG Tribal Foundation's Michelle Aofa commended the Enga provincial government, saying in the Pacific, PNG was leading in maternal mortality. The aim of this program was to address this health problem.
Mama na pikinini one important marker, key indicator, long. So go ahead, lo country na community blow yumi. Papua New Guinea, dai blow mama na pikinini, I winim all geta country blow Pacific. All statistics, it talk 100,000 live births, or 700 by die. And we mean also 4 or 5 bla mama, lo 1 bla day by die.
The VSCAN program is aiming rural centers which do not have access to facilities like an ultrasound machine.
The VSCAN, mama can stop lo hap, you carry lik machine na go sekim belplo mama. That's the beauty of VSCAN.
The vehicle will assist program officers to monitor and collect data on how many patients are being assisted using this device. Michelle Amba, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Hela Provincial Administrator William Bando says the death of the late Hela Governor Anderson Agiru will not be used as a leverage to fulfill landowner desires. Mr. Bando said commitments in the UBSA and LBSA must be honored by the government. Bando made this statement following rumors of landowners putting a price tag on the late governor's casket.
Since the death of Anderson Agiru last week Thursday, rumors of closing down the multi-billion LNG project went viral on social media. Hela Administrator William Bando said they have received a petition from landowners in Hela that demands the government to implement benefits of the project. However, Bando says Agiru's death should not be used as leverage by landowners.
We actually be seen like we're using our leaders' body to negotiate. No, we're not negotiating for anything.
In September 2015, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill visited Hela and highlighted projects worth over 600 million kina, which will be implemented in the province.
They also want some money for some other projects that governor has been pursuing, the agro-industrial center projects. Some of these monies are appropriated in the 2016 budget. Some are not.
In a meeting yesterday, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill assured Hela and Southern Highlands provincial leaders that commitments are ongoing and the government will pursue the dreams of the late Hela Governor. Meanwhile, Chairman of late Agiru's organizing committee says funeral services in Port Moresby will continue until next week before the body is flown to Southern Highlands, then Hela.
We would like to celebrate the contributions that he has made so far, and issues of trust will not derail the program, and the program will be extended, but to celebrate the days, not for any other specific issues as reported in the media.
A state funeral service is expected next week before the body leaves Port Moresby. Jack Lepave Jr., National EMTV News.
Shareholders of energy company Interoil have been asked to reject a proposal put forward by a group led by the company's former head. Interoil Chairman Chris Finlayson, in a letter to shareholders, urged them not to approve sweeping changes proposed by a group of shareholders led by former Chairman and CEO Phil Mulashek. Among them, a significant reduction in the number of board members to 6, potentially paving the way for his return to the Interoil board. In a letter to shareholders, Finlayson argued that proposals put forward by Mulashek were not in the best interests of shareholders as they would have negative effects on the company. These would include hindering progress that Interoil had made since Mr. Mulashek's departure from Interoil, as well as putting Interoil at a competitive disadvantage in attracting qualified directors and officers. The results of shareholders' votes regarding these proposals are expected to be made known at Interoil's AGM, scheduled for June the 14th. And now a look at the finance news. The kina opened unchanged at $0.3165 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3090 $0.4112 Australian dollars, $0.2659 euro, and 32.81 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and copper closed higher, while coffee and cocoa closed the day lower. Copper closed lower, while palm oil and crude oil closed the day higher. And on the stock markets, the Dow Jones closed 99 points lower, the ASX closed 2 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed 3 points lower. You're watching National MTV News. More local stories after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. More than 10,000 registered members of the Teachers Savings and Loans will have added benefits from their life insurance contribution of 30 kina. The fortnight contribution will also cover the cost of death of immediate families and their dependents. Erika Rupma with this report.
This was affirmed today with the MOU signing between the National Teachers Insurance Limited and the Public Employees Association. Their benefits include funeral expenses, medical and hospitality expenses, maternity care, and travel expenses outside of Port Moresby.
Our purpose for this insurance plan is really to bring in more members, public servants at the moment.
She said with the current 10,000 registered members, this partnership will be a milestone event for this organization that will boost the organization with only 30 kina premium. National Teachers Insurance Limited Executive Officer Ure Rauko said the organization has made the right decision to come into alliance with Public Employees Association. He said this is because an organization can live from insurance contributions of many, which this partnership will develop their savings. Other benefits include a net asset profit of 40 million kina, including insurance Rumana building and staff houses in North Waigani, and a 30% return of their clients every year.
We believe they have made the right decision in coming to LIC. And it's now up to LIC to provide the service that their membership, the PA membership, is looking for.
With this partnership, National Teachers Insurance will provide the service that Public Employees Association is looking for. PA General Secretary Peter Tok said this social security will give a security to public servants during the time of death.
Timely for us to give that sense of security to the membership that we have, because you are covering the life of our member, the medical expenses of the member, evacuation expenses of the member, so they have that sense of security.
Eric Harupma, National MTV News.
Papua New Guinea is facing a human resource crisis in the health sector. That's from Health Secretary Pasco Kase. Further to that, a World Bank report of 2011 revealed that patient-to-doctor ratio was 1 to 10,000. Health Secretary Pasco Kase told National MTV News the shortage of doctors is a critical need and recruiting overseas is an interim measure.
A report by World Bank and its development partners, together with the government of Papua New Guinea in 2011, revealed that there was a workforce crisis in Papua New Guinea in terms of health service delivery.
Since receiving that report through the government, the current government, we have now put in place a human resource workforce policy for health, and also as part of the direction of the government, we have put in place an urgent plan to address the critical workforce shortages. So that means that there are some immediate actions that must be taken by the health department and our partners to address the shortages.
Kase says one of the strategies approved by the national government was for doctors to be recruited from overseas to fill in the gaps. Currently, the University of Papua New Guinea's School of Medicine is not producing enough doctors, with only around 40 graduates every year. This has forced the health department to recruit from overseas because of the shortage.
And we have been recruiting doctors from India or Bangladesh or other locations. But certainly we will have to do a mass drive of recruitment overseas. But again, priority will be given to our own local doctors to be given positions, priority, so that they can get employed before we look outside. But
the national government has allocated funding to rehabilitate medical institutions like nursing colleges and community health workers' schools.
So on top of that, also the Australian government gave some scholarships. So far, they have given a scholarship to almost over 500 scholarships in the last 5 or 6 years. in training of midwife nurses to address the high maternal mortality that we face in Papua New Guinea.
The medium-term strategy approved by the national government also calls for the health department to support the University of Papua New Guinea to train more doctors and improve capacity.
I think there are challenges that our medical school is facing, and we would want to advocate for them to be supported so that they have that capacity to train more students, especially to become medical officers.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Huonville Primary School in Leh is still waiting for the balance of funding from the government for this year. Head teacher Ban Kawage says the school received 40,000 kina as the first portion of the 2016 tuition fee-free funds. The funding received in April did not fully meet all the school's requirements.
This incomplete infrastructure, a classroom that will cater for administration offices, a conference room and library, was initially built using 2014 tuition fee-free funds. But the construction work remains incomplete pending receipt of the next quarter of TFF funds for 2016. Head teacher Ban Kawage says the school is in need of more funds to fully meet the school's expenses.
We already started off constructing a double classroom, double-story administration block, but we cannot complete it because the fund that we receive is less than previous years. Some years ago we received 100,000 plus, and that gives us opportunity to do other things, but now we cannot.
What the school has received this year is less. They are usually given over 100,000 kina in quarterly payments. The head teacher says so far it has received 2 payments in the month of March and April with 11,000 kina and 38,000 kina respectively. Last year they did not receive the last quarter payments. Huonville has 1,600 students with 40 staff and learning resources are inadequate.
But otherwise I would like to say that the national government can keep up with its tuition fee policy and pay us in full, then there won't be any problem.
This Leh school is a representation of the difficulties that public schools face, especially where funds are paid through grants. Now, further reductions in its quarterly payments will contribute to less infrastructure developments happening in schools. This year, the government allocated more than 600 million kina in its tuition fee-free funds, but on the ground, schools have not received full payment. Colin Barilai, National EMTV News, Leh.
Trukai Sports is next. We'll tell you all about this Saturday's Pacific Test match, which will also be shown live on EMTV. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. This weekend, Sydney will host a test match doubleheader between 4 Pacific nation countries. Nearly 50 of the players involved play in the NRL. Among the players, 2 sets of brothers who play for the Kumuls and the Bati. Shane Saroya reports.
The first game of Saturday's Pacific Test doubleheader sees an NRL dominating Fiji side taking on the PNG Kumuls with 11 SP PNG hunters from within the Queensland Intra Super Cup. The Butties have without doubt been tipped as the favourites for this clash, not just because of the wealth of experience in some of the NRL rap players, but due to their track record of back-to-back semi-finals appearances in the last 2 Rugby League World Cup. The Kumuls, however, will be using this test match as an opportunity to re-establish themselves as a Rugby League nation.
Traker scores for Papua New Guinea.
The Kumuls NRL talent, only stretching to Nene McDonald and captain David Mead at fullback, is obviously to anyone who has watched the Titans play this season. But one player who Fiji need to be particularly wary of is Krafi Huka Wartovo Puara, who has been the standout for the Hunters in this year's season of the Intra Super Cup. The match kicks off at 5:30 p.m. and will be available to viewers across the country on your number 1 to watch, EMTV.
Albert denied before. Standard Albert. He won't be denied now.
Shane Saroya, National MTV Sports.
International Rugby League will continue to feature prominently on MTV this year and the next. Following the telecast of this weekend's Pacific Series, MTV also holds the exclusive rights for the Rugby League Four Nations Cup in England in October and the Rugby League World Cup next year. The three licenses that MTV has been granted are for terrestrial free-to-air broadcasters only, where MTV holds exclusive rights in Papua New Guinea. This means that rugby league fans throughout the country and the Pacific will not need to spend money on a TV set-top box to catch all the live on-field action starting at 5:30 p.m. this Saturday. The Central Province Premier Rugby Football League competition launched their 2016 season yesterday with kick-off set for next month. The tournament was sponsored by Central Province Governor Kila Hauda with 35,000 kina in prize money, with 48 registered teams in the competition, making it one of the biggest competitions in the Central Province.
The Central Province Premier Rugby Football League has been growing from strength to strength since its inception in 2014. This year marks the league's third successive year with over 47 registered teams from 5 districts of the Central Province. Chairman of the Central Province Premier League, Jack Kedea, said basically the tournament is designed to identify players from districts and rural areas through the talent identification program. All the games will be played in 5 districts of Abau, Rigo, Hiri, Kairuku and Goilala, with each district registering 6 teams each.
We look at the Central Premier League. It's structured in a way that it's a development league and competition. We have village leagues, we have inter-district, which is Kila Cup competition, and then we have Intercity, which is the District Cup, and then Hunters and the National PNG Kumul. So it's a pathway, it's a pyramid concept.
Jack said because of the Hunters program next year, the association has been tasked to reintroduce the under-20s teams, which they have now complied with, and have registered 24 teams in the A-grade division and 24 teams in the under-20 division.
The first year we had 8 teams, and it increased last year to 16. This time we have 24 first grade and 24 in under 20. They have introduced under 20 because of the Hunters program next year. So,
boasting a total of 48 teams in the competition, Jack believes the Central Provincial Rugby League competition would be one of the biggest leagues in the province and in the country. Shane Saroya, National MTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Nominations for the National Gaming Control Board 2016 PNG National Women's Snooker titles are now open. PNG Billiards and Snooker Vice President John Chan said nominations and registration fees are 150 kina per player for the tournament, which is scheduled to be held from May the 24th to the 28th. Chan said only 40 players will participate, and because it's the national championships, preference will be given to ranked players. Nomination forms are available from the Lamana Q Club, Dragon's Den, Laguna Hotel and Aviat Club. These are also the 4 venues where the tournament will be held. To football, and only days remain till the PNG men's national team travel to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and the team is focused on doing the country proud. Assistant coach Reginald Devani said the team will assemble by the end of this week and depart for the 10-day trip.
Hikari goalkeeper Leslie Kalai has been recalled into the national team as backup to both Ishmael Pole and Ronald Warrison, whilst Patrick Isa, Sammy Campbell and Roland Bala join the bulk of a side that has been playing competitive football. In an interview with the Football First program on MTV, PNG midfielder Michael Foster remains confident in the team as a whole.
Most of the boys have been playing together for a while now, and it's I think what Fleming did, getting most of the players from Ekari, and the combination is already there. We just have to work on our technique, and yeah.
Having been part of the national setup since 2003, Foster believes that the current lineup of young players and veteran campaigners offers the country a more versatile team.
There are players in the camp right now, and most of them are, like you said, young players, but with few experienced players in the team. Yeah, I think we have a good. I think we'll come out do better when come the tournament.
Assistant National Coach Reginald Davani has also emphasized the importance of the friendlies, with PNG hoping to do well in the lead-up to the Nations Cup.
So the squad is up there. So they've had, from reports, it's been really good. So and then we've got about 7 down here. Still got 2 more players to join us. So to make 8. So yeah, we've got about 6. Yeah, 2 more guys, and then 8 from down here.
The rest of the members of the national team will arrive down here in Port Moresby on Friday in preparation to leave for Korea. And one of the things that national coach Fleming Seritslev has been adamant about is that the OFC Nations Cup is perhaps one of the biggest tournaments that Papua New Guinea can take part in for the next 4 years, as not only does it serve as a World Cup qualifier, but the winner of the Nations Cup takes part in the Confederations Cup, and the financial windfalls that benefit Papua New Guinea will be massive. Jeremy Mogi, National, EMTV Sports.
And that ends True Kai Sports for today. We will be back with all the weather details after the break.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region, fine in Alotau and Popondetta, showers expected in Kerema, fine in Port Moresby and Daru. To the Momase region, showers expected in all major centers. To the New Guinea Islands region, a few thundery showers expected in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, evening showers expected in Mount Hagen and Goroka, showers in Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, and all centers to expect morning fog. Before we go, recapping our main stories for tonight. Enga Governor calls for students to return to class. Students conduct polling on legal grounds for boycott at Unitec, and some good news for police band amidst bad publicity. And that has been the news, sports and weather for tonight, Thursday, the 5th of May 2016. On behalf of the EMTV News team, Maribel Tulo, pleasant viewing, good night.